It's taken 5 years, but we finally have found out who the original source of the Trump-Russia collusion narrative was. Slate journalists sent draft of story to Fusion GPS about possible link between Trump and Russian bank. Now, for those who don't know, Slate is an online magazine run exclusively by Democrats, leftists, and progressives. So their job is to make the Democratic Party look good, or in the Republican Party look bad. But it seems they had an additional role, working directly for Hillary Rodham Clinton's presidential campaign during the 2016 presidential election. Journalist Franklin Furr appeared to admit he was the journalist mentioned in a federal grand jury indictment who sent 2,500 words of his story to Fusion GPS the day before it was published. Now, for those who don't know, Fusion GPS was the firm that was originally hired by Republican primary candidates to dig up dirt on primary candidate Donald Trump during the 2016 presidential election. Once the Republican primaries ended, Fusion GPS shopped around what they had on Donald Trump, and it was then purchased by the Hillary Clinton campaign. Now here's the important part. Apparently Hillary Clinton's campaign paid Fusion GPS around $19 million to create a larger dossier to defeat then nominee Donald Trump. So Hillary Clinton took $19 million from her donors. The donors, people who donated $50 or $100 to Hillary Clinton in 2016, they thought that money was going to help get her elected through legal processes. Hillary took that money and gave it to Fusion GPS with the intention of rigging the 2016 presidential election. The research firm, Fusion GPS, hired by the Hillary Clinton campaign to investigate Donald Trump, wrote that it was time to hurry on this story written by Franklin Furrow at Slate. It had to be released days before the election, according to the indictment of Democratic lawyer Michael Sussman. Several weeks ago, you may have seen brief news clippings about the John Durham probe indicting Democrat lawyer Michael Sussman, and that's where the story would end for all news outlets. Sussman is accused of lying to the FBI by the John Durham probe investigating the origins of the Russian investigation. The indictment accused Sussman of hiding the fact that he was working for the Clinton campaign while employed by the FBI, while pushing for an investigation by the FBI into supposed ties between the Trump Organization and Alpha Bank. Slate journalist Furr was pressured by Fusion GPS to hurry on his story. Now let's take a look at the timeline here. They suggested that Furr should hurry to publish an article regarding the Russia Bank One allegations. On October 31st, 2016, Slate magazine published this news story. Was a Trump server communicating with Russia? Now look at the timing here. Immediately, the Hillary Clinton official Twitter feed, which is still up, immediately retweeted this. Read the title here. The Clinton campaign hyped the story that day, with policy advisor Jake Sullivan calling the secret hotline perhaps the key to unlocking the mystery of Trump's ties to Russia. And here he is, the reporter himself, Franklin Furr, boasting it's not too late for an October surprise. So this is old news, yesterday's news, right? That's what the Hillary Clinton staff, that's what the Democratic Party, and that's what the Democratic news media want you to believe. Why is this not old news? This tweet was sent out by Hillary Clinton the same day, that evening. Who is Jake Sullivan, the man pushing this statement? Remember, these all came out the same day. Jake Sullivan's statement, the original story by Slate's Furr, and Fusion GPS ordering this man to have that story out on October 31st, 1 week before the 2016 presidential election. So to sum all this up, why does this matter today in 2021? The man in the middle of all this, Hillary Clinton policy advisor Jake Sullivan, is now President Biden's national security advisor. The fix was in, folks. These people rigged an American election in order to pretend that Donald Trump was a Russian agent. Hillary Clinton lied, this Furr lied, Jake Sullivan lied, and now these people are all in the highest places of power, millions and millions of dollars, smearing Donald Trump as a Russian agent when he had absolutely nothing to do with Russia. This entire notion was fabricated by the Hillary Clinton campaign. And then she goes and writes a book called What Happened? Well, what happened was Hillary Clinton did not trust the American electoral system. Hillary Clinton did not trust the will of the voters. Hillary Clinton did this to our system of elections. This was an attack by Hillary Clinton against the heart of our democracy. Without our election system, America can't function. Hillary Clinton did this to our country out of greed for power and money. And the people that did this for her on her behalf are rich. Jake Sullivan, the man at the center of this news release, is now at the peak of government power as Biden's national security advisor. And what happened to Furr here? Franklin Furr is now working at The Atlantic. You might remember The Atlantic. That was the magazine that published a completely unverified, anonymous source story last year stating that Donald Trump had ridiculed American dead in a French cemetery from World War II. This guy tried to rig the 2016 presidential election. Now he's happily working at The Atlantic. Why aren't any of these people in prison? They didn't attack Donald Trump, folks. They attacked the American election system. This was an attack by partisan Democrat hacks to tilt the election in the favor of Hillary Clinton. They attacked you. They didn't attack Donald Trump. He was the bystander to this. This was an attack by the Hillary Rodham Clinton campaign and her associates such as Franklin Furr, Fusion GPS, and Jake Sullivan here on you, the American people. They didn't trust you to do the right thing and vote for Hillary Clinton. They had to rig things. And the fact that Hillary Clinton was nakedly rigging things is one of the reasons she lost. Americans do not like cheaters, and Hillary Clinton is and was a cheater. So why does everyone associated with her get rich off of this scheme? They lied about a candidate for political gain. They damaged President Trump's ability to govern and do the job he was legally elected to do. They made sure he spent the next 4 years fighting off legal challenges of him being a Russian agent. And this whole scheme was fomented by the Obama-Biden administration. None of those people went to jail for this. None of them went to prison for this. Why did they get rewarded with untold riches and untold power for this attack on the American election system? It's just a mystery to me. They should all be in prison. Instead, they got rich off of this. Thank you.